Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back again on another edition of This Morning. It's Thursday, and we are saying hi to all our wonderful viewers, especially those that are watching us beyond our borders. It's another wonderful morning, and I am joined by my colleague Ansumana Eso Nyasi. Mr. Nyasi, welcome to This Morning. We miss you.
Well,
where have you been? I mean,
I am around.
I know you're always on television, but I mean, on this particular platform, we miss you here.
Yeah, I mean, I miss being here as well.
Yes.
But, you know, it's good, you know, to be back. And I'm always following you, Jay, Mr. Ade, and sometimes Mr. Boy. So, yeah.
You're back fresh and clean.
Really?
Yes. And of course, on the newspaper review today, we'll be talking to, as usual, our mentor, our guy here in the studio, Mr. Ade Drame. Mr. Drame, welcome to the program.
Pleasure. And before we go on, it's 3 men today.
Yeah.
And so shout out to our colleague, Jenaba Sonko, who's not here today.
Yeah.
The amazing host, or
Yeah.
is she just the host? You're the amazing co-host.
She is the
She's
exceptional
just the
host.
It's what? It's an
I am the
all-men's
amazing
day.
co-host.
It's an all-men's good morning.
Yeah, so
This
today I'm
morning day.
sitting in as Jenna Basonko.
You are indeed. And I'm being myself today. I'm not somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the program today, we'll be looking at the African proverb. As you know, African proverb, it's among the most interesting things. And of course, on this program, we'll be doing the African proverb and the newspaper review. As I introduced, Mr. Ade Drame is here already with us in the studio. Then on Community Watch, we'll also be looking at legal aid, what they do. I mean, most of the time, people don't know what legal aid does. I mean, you hear legal aid, you see them around, see their vehicle, I mean, see a whole lot of banners and posters about legal aid. But let's take a stop and, you know, ask them, what are your responsibilities? What are you doing in this country? And from there, we'll be doing the click segment. Churchill Balde with W2, they'll be here in the studio. But also, we have a very interesting press release here from the West African Examination Council. As you know, it is indicated that statements of results are already being printed out. So we'll also be looking at it. The performance of West African children when it comes to, as far as the examinations are concerned. So once again, gentlemen, you are welcome on this platform.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so I'll allow you to take us through the African proverb. What do we have there?
Yeah, so it's another interesting one. And it reads, when the hyena wants to eat its children, it first accuses them of smelling like goats.
Good smell.
Yeah.
Good smell. You know, it reminds me of the way goats smell when it during the rainy season. I mean, they have a
There's
very
a particular
in fact, a terrible one.
Yeah,
I don't know if many people can relate. I mean, it's terrible, especially when
This is an
when
interesting
it
one,
rains.
really.
Yes. So when a hyena wants to eat its children, it first accuses them of smelling like goats. Baby, you are smelling like a goat.
And before you know it, your lunch.
Yes. So your interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in the kind of human context where, for example, you have people who, they come to power together in politics.
Yeah.
And then when the president or prime minister starts thinking these people are becoming a bit too ambitious, he usually accuses them of plotting against him. And before you know it, they've been rounded up and killed. We've seen it many times, not just in Africa, I would say, across the world. There's a famous photograph with Stalin in the Soviet Union, where all the people who were part of the revolution, he accused them all one by one of plotting against him. And every time he did so, the composite picture, which had all of them, they would erase that person from the photograph and put somebody else's face on it, you know. And so he killed lots and lots of people that he initially came to power
I think
with.
we've had a similar scenario in Gambia as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a better interpretation there. I mean, it's a matter of trying to find faults, I mean, to be able to put certain things into the way you like it. I mean, maybe certain things did not go down well with you, and there is no excuse, but you will still find an excuse to execute or remove them your way. I mean, just to get a clear view.
True.
Yeah, so I think that's a better interpretation as well.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's like looking for an excuse in advance.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. That's a good one.
Yeah,
an
exactly.
excuse in advance. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when the hyena wants to eat its children, it first accuses them of smelling like goats. I mean, it reminds me of a mother hen that we used to have in my house. I mean, when it lay eggs, you can see it pecking on the eggs, you know, drinking the yolk.
Right.
You know, it happens all the time. So my dad will tell me, you know, you can, you know, catch the hen.
As soon as it lays.
No, cut off the beak.
Okay,
use a razor blade
Right.
and cut some tip of the beak, at least so that it won't do that. So
Ah,
when it does that, it feels the pain. So it won't do that again. So it reminds me of how a mother hen can
Turns
be
on
drinking its eggs like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's a great one. So it's interesting. Now we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll go straight to the newspaper review. We have quite interesting headlines here today. And of course, the program, it's here for you to sponsor. Those who want to sponsor the program can contact QTV Marketing. And of course, they will be willing to guide you through on the package on how to sponsor this program. Anything that you put on this platform, it will sell. There's no doubt about it. So we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues.
Espas Motors is the largest and most modern auto service in the Gambia. Espas Motors is the only authorized dealer in Chevy, Mercedes-Benz trucks, Mercedes-Benz buses, Kia, Ford, Futon Mini and Midi buses, Futon trucks. At Espas Motors, we have qualified professionals who use modern technology to diagnose and repair all brands of motor vehicles. Espas Motor services include auto sales, auto repairs, vehicle painting, availability of high-quality spare parts, towing services. We are reachable at any time. Call Espas Motors on 352222 353-4444 or locate us on the Bertel Harding Highway. Espas Motors.
You are watching QTV this morning, and of course I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back again. If you're just tuning in, we discussed the African proverb already, and quite a very interesting interpretation there, finding excuses on you know, to carry out, I mean, your heart desire to do certain things. And we'll go straight to the newspaper review. Like I said, I'm with Ansumana Esonyasi, and we have Mr. Ade Drame to help us interpret the newspapers. I mean, Mr. Ade, we will start with your paper. What do we have there?
I have 4, yeah. And before we interpret them, I'll just read the headlines, I guess. First one says, PRU officers storm disputed market in Salaji.
In Salaji.
This one has been going on and on and on. Agricultural Ministry launches project to increase food and nutritional security.
Wow.
And Foreign Affairs Minister calls for urgent domestication of regional texts. That one, I kind of know what it's about. Pensioner demands higher increase in payment. Yes, we all want more. And response to COVID-19 vaccination continues to decline. Interesting one, given what one of the officials told Mr. Mboch the other day, quite the opposite. And victim's sister testifies in rape abortion trial. And that's what I have.
That's what you have. So what's there?
So I have The Voice, and it says, VP Juve, we don't need conflict in ECOWAS region, important. Ministry of Health nationwide COVID-19 vaccination campaign in progress. High Court implements Hunain Islamic School eviction order. And GAPS Giraffe launches $56 million agricultural projects.
Yes, so that's it?
Yeah.
Yes, let's take a look at the Point newspaper, and it is 40 unidentified bodies at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital set for burial. And of course, VP Juve challenges ECOWAS parliamentarians to promote development democracy. And we also have Agri Ministry debunks so-called financial grant as fake. Safe Life Gambia calls on government to declare National Day of Mourning. Gambia launches $56 million giraffe and gaffs project. And of course, that's all we have on the Point newspaper. But first, let's start with Safe Life Gambia calls on government to declare National Day of Mourning.
For what?
I think it's in connection with the 4 security personnel. I mean,
yes,
you know,
accidents
who last week, I mean, had an accident on the Jarasoma highway. And I think, is it a good idea to observe mourning? It shouldn't be a bad idea. But don't you think there is a problem that lies somewhere? We should first try to find solutions to those problems than to talk about mourning.
I have to agree with you. I've said that there should be some kind of national state of emergency declared in the country over the spate of accidents. And I'm going to keep repeating this until people are sick of hearing me say it. And then when you get sick of hearing me say it, maybe the madness will stop. Gambia should not be 4th in the world for road traffic accidents. We should not be number 4 in the world. A country this small, it's sick, okay? So let's address that before we start talking about a national day of mourning. Yes, we send our condolences to the families of the bereaved, genuinely. But honestly, this is an epidemic in this country, and we need to address it. That's what we need to be doing. We will observe that one day, and then what? Then what? What do we do the next day? Go back to killing each other on the road? No, we need to address it. It needs to stop.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think for a country of our size, really, it's quite disturbing. And it is my belief that, I mean, with the way things are going now, I mean, it seems, I mean, these accidents, almost every day, you're getting reports of accidents happening. And the speed at which it is happening is quite worrying. It is my opinion that if one were to do a survey now, we would, in fact, not be 4, maybe 3 or even 2. I mean, I think it needs special attention.
Exactly. When you look at the roads, the how to call it, the South Bank road, there is a whole lot of problems. You know, we used to have a whole lot of checkpoints. The police, they were doing a wonderful job. Anyway, maybe every 1 kilometer you have a checkpoint.
What were they checking for?
You understand? Speeding. You understand? It's supposed to be speeding. I don't know if they are actually checking speeding or not.
Most of them were
but
security checkpoints.
that is supposed to be the case.
Checking through people's
but
vehicles,
at some point, many people complain. Gambians complain, including myself. I mean, a whole lot of checkpoints on the road for no reason, because they delay our time all the time when we are traveling to Baseana. But they removed all the checkpoints. Before, it is very rare to see or hear such kind of accidents on that road.
True.
This road,
on that road,
this road claimed the life of Sisi Sawane. It claimed the life of many people. It claimed the life of this security personnel and even other people that we don't know. But all these things happened when all those checkpoints were removed. When I asked the PRO, what he said to me is, I mean, you are the ones that complain. We removed our checkpoints. So all that we do is to have officer stations just by the roadside so that, you know, to monitor vehicle passing. So I think it's not effective, Mr.
No, I mean, to be honest, I don't subscribe to that, because checkpoints are only at certain points. If they stop you speeding, so what? You speed till you get to the next checkpoint, because you know where the next checkpoint is. So you can slow down after you pass this one, or when you approach this one, you pass it, you speed up again. But the thing is, when you were talking, I said, what are they checking for? You said speeding. Well, okay. We are about to do a story on the fact that you have checkpoints, and you have vehicles that go past checkpoints at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, they got no lights. Some have one, some have none.
Yeah.
This morning, as part of that, I thought, let me observe vehicles in front of me, how many of them have brake lights. My journey was 20 minutes. I counted 25 vehicles that stopped in front of me where their brake lights didn't come on because they don't have any.
You have a lot of them on our roads.
So there are lots of unfit vehicles.
Mr.
So
Ade,
checkpoint, I mean,
Mr.
sorry.
Ade, I mean,
I'm not having that.
the situation is that bad. A tractor, in the late hours of the night, I was coming from work to my home. I met up with a tractor. They were like small boys on a tractor. They were driving high speed. They didn't have light. You know what they have?
Torches.
Torchlight. Yeah, I've seen that.
Late hours, torchlight. In fact, when I saw it from a distance, I thought it's a bicycle coming.
Of course, yeah, go ahead.
If I was not careful, I would not have. I would have just gone.
I made the mistake of driving from Sanyang along Sanyang Tanji, that road.
I hope it wasn't
10 o'clock at night, and I said
God,
I would never do it again.
Yeah.
The number of vehicles I passed, and there are 2 checkpoints, by the way.
You don't do that. I mean,
The number of vehicles I passed, and some of them big trucks that had no
In
lights.
fact, on those roads,
And they went through the same
on that
checkpoint.
road, you have more trucks on that road than anywhere
and
else in the
speeding.
country.
So those guys
That's
got through
animal.
checkpoints. Checkpoints, as I said, checking for what? So
I think
it's a
I think there
whole
should be
attitude
more. We should be
that
more
needs to change.
proactive.
Yeah, back then, this security, some of these security checkpoints you have, what they do, you have a combination of officers from different forces.
That's right, yeah.
So you have a drug law enforcement agency who would be at these checkpoints
That's
to
right.
look for
That's right.
people
Yeah,
trafficking
sure.
drugs and all that. And you have police officers, you have immigration officers there
Yeah,
as well.
seen them.
Yes, but then, I think really it wasn't really more about controlling traffic or maybe people's speed limits and all that. It was more about crime.
For me, that's what
yes,
I've always assumed.
More about controlling crime.
Yeah,
But then, because you have these checkpoints as well, people were not really over speeding because the thinking is that, there's a checkpoint ahead. Now, even if I go past them, they used to have these motorbikes, and then they'll come after you. All right? But then we don't have that. And since some of these checkpoints have been removed, well,
You can drive anyhow.
Yeah.
I once drove my car to Basay. Although I don't think I'll do it again. I'll not do it again. Like 400 kilometers, I was driving. Mr. Ade, I drove from Serekunda here. I went up to Basay. I did not pass 80, like my car, 80. I was driving at that speed.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
But I'll see a vehicle will come,
Phew.
puff,
Yeah.
and pass.
Yeah.
So that was very dangerous.
Sure.
So it's really serious. So let's take a look at the 40 unidentified bodies at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. I think ESO will be in better position to tell us this. I mean, my guy went into the mortuary and he was like confused when he came.
Yeah, I recall, what was it, 2 months ago?
Possibly longer.
Yeah,
Yes.
possibly longer. I remember going
yes.
there, and I had the opportunity, to go around with the PRO, hospital PRO, and he even showed me where some of these bodies are kept. Some have been there for 8, 7 years, some even longer.
Yeah.
And the plan is to, organize a mass burial. Because most of them, in fact, are unidentified.
Multi-faith.
And because you don't know what faith they belong. So the wisest thing to do would be to have a mass burial for them. And I think it's good. We've been waiting. We haven't heard from them since
8
then.
years is too much.
And interestingly, I was going to say, when Eso's story, I engaged in, I wouldn't say discussion so much as an argument with some people on Twitter because they were saying that they should not bury them. They should wait until, I said, how long do you keep them? 20 years? 25 years?
Yeah.
You've gone 8 years, you haven't found anybody, nobody's come forward.
You
Come
can't
on, give
identify
them
them.
the dignity of a burial.
You can't identify them.
Yeah.
You don't know what faith they belong to.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Come on.
You cannot keep them there forever.
I
And then
couldn't
every day
believe-
you have people dying.
People
Yeah.
die.
And that is where they're keeping them. So it's like the whole place, in fact, is what? Crowded?
Yeah, it's crowded.
What do you do?
And I couldn't believe that people were saying, no, you can't do this. You must keep them until you find their
people.
identity.
I think it's also good that people, start going to the mortuary sometimes when your loved one is missing. go there to see.
But you know, there's a natural tendency that people don't do that because they don't want the confirmation
Exactly.
that the person
So
who's missing
died.
is dead.
Yeah.
They would rather the person wasn't dead but missing.
Missing. Yeah.
And so they don't go there to confirm either way.
Yeah, but then if
Yeah,
it takes
but-
that long and you don't see them,
Yeah.
you have
Well,
no
and
information.
also I think it's good to advise people. I've seen something that the West does. I mean, anywhere you go, not only the West, you need to get an identity card
You know,
with you.
thank
Take your
you.
ID card
I was
with
going to
you.
say this.
Always get
I
a
never-
wallet. If you don't get a wallet, make sure you are always with your ID card. You never know
Look,
what will happen.
even when I'm at home, I'm going around on my private stuff, I make sure I have all my cards
you
on
have your
me because
documents. This
it's not
is
safe.
In
Everybody
some-
knows.
It's
this,
not safe.
I mean,
In some countries, they don't have ID cards. In England, they don't. But what almost everybody does have is that even your bus pass or your train pass, sometimes to get it, you need a bus or train ID.
Yeah.
And so they can even use that to identify you. But having said that, there was an incident about 5 years ago at a hospital, near a hospital called King's College, and there's a station, Denmark Hill, and a woman came out, grabbed her chest, and she fell, and she died. Whilst people were attending to her, you wouldn't believe it, somebody came and snatched her handbag and ran off with it.
Oh,
when she
She was dead, and there were about 10 people around her, and some young guy came and just snatched the handbag and ran off. And they took her to King's College Hospital. I'd say lucky for her. King's College Hospital has about 2,000 staff. Over 300 of them are Sierra Leoneans, and one of them recognized her. She was a Sierra Leonean woman.
thankfully.
Oh.
Otherwise, otherwise, and this is a true story, otherwise they would have been struggling to identify, because the guy took everything that you would have used
So
to
they
identify,
can't- they
and
can't
they would not have
identify.
been able to.
Yeah.
And somebody saw and said, "Oh,
Unfortunately.
I know this woman," and
Some
through
people are
that,
heartless.
they
Really. Imagine
contact-
someone dying and all you could think
And
of is to snatch
snatching.
their bags.
yeah, people do it. People do it.
Terrible.
well,
Wickedness.
okay.
But
All right.
so yeah, they will be buried
Yes.
finally, and you know, may their souls rest in peace, because it's for us Africans, you know, burying
But,
somebody
at
with
some point,
proper
there are
dignity
things
is
that you
big,
know
is a big
the
deal.
state decides on them. I mean, if you get to certain levels, I mean, the state will decide. I mean, you as an individual, as far as it happened in the Gambia and you are living in this country, at some point, if the state knows this is not favorable, I mean, they will decide. They are given all the jurisdiction to decide on what to do. So I think, I mean, burying them, as far as it's going down with the state, it's fine.
And I was just going to say very, very quickly, in one of the discussions I had to somebody, I said some of these people might not even be Gambians.
Yes.
And so the likelihood of somebody from Gambia identifying the body is remote to almost impossible. So at some point you have to draw a line and say, we will give these people a dignified burial.
Absolutely. Yeah, so now let's take a look at the statement of the WAS results. And Eswanyasi.
Yeah, so
yes,
so a total of 15,306 candidates, you know, from 136 senior secondary schools registered for the exams, and they're saying it represents a decrease in the candidature of 5.38% over the previous year, that is last year, of which the figure was 16,234 candidates. So out of the 15,360 candidates that registered for the exams this year, all right, 6,319, that is about 41.14% were male, while 9,041, that is what, 58.86% were female. All right, so 32 subjects, which included English, mathematics, and
Etc.
you know, so on and so on. And then you have about 605 candidates, that is about 3.94% who had what, credit passes in 5 subjects and above, including English, language, and mathematics. So just quickly, what really caught my attention, Baldi and Mr. Ade, is the fact that you have 23.87% who only managed to have one credit pass.
On some,
One
I mean,
credit.
credit pass in just one subject.
in one subject.
This is very disturbing.
Or to be proper,
Yeah.
even WASCE, I would give them a bad mark on this press release, because It doesn't say one subject. It says one subjects.
One subject.
So this is from the exam council.
I
so if
think
these
you're
are
right.
the people who are examining
right.
our
This
children,
is a very
and they are writing
expensive-
one
Yeah.
subjects,
Yeah, because you have subjects from the top.
It is a
9
very
subjects,
expensive
this is- yeah.
mistake.
Down-
I think
down
sometimes
to
it's
one
important for
subjects.
us to
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
look at certain things.
Minor but
Mr. Ade,
important.
you
But-
see,
yeah.
sometimes these things, they reflect on our children.
Well,
I
indeed.
went to a nursery school.
Yeah.
I saw something like a leaf was drawn somewhere,
Right.
and I've seen something written there, lizard,
Lizard.
lizard.
Yeah, I remember seeing this photo of a giraffe drawn
Yes,
at the gate of
I
the
saw
school,
something
and then
like that.
you
And
have
it's
horse on
not
it.
very far. I've seen something on my phone. A student was standing there looking at it.
Yeah, even today.
You saw it?
Voice principals of
You saw it on my status.
Yeah, they
Voice
posted
This
it.
is a
Principals.
student standing and looking at this graphic designer or a painter man painting something like,
voice
it's supposed to be
principals
vice principal's office,
office.
but the guy wrote voice principal's office.
Somebody
And the
posted it.
student was like this, looking at it like
That
that.
guy
Somebody-
must be a
but-
full painter man.
But,
I mean, I
but
don't
you know,
understand how things work.
somebody posted that on my Twitter
Oh, my
feed, and
goodness.
because it said voice principal's office, I said, say it loud. And he said, yes, indeed. Say it
So,
loud.
well, I think why...
But to,
yes.
to get serious,
Yeah.
as Esso says, in one, 23.87 only got one subject credited in one subject.
3,667.
It's scary. And when you go to the top end, 9 subjects, 1.31% of candidates got 9 subjects. I attended
Oh my God.
the graduation yesterday of SOS school, the grade 9s. And I was quite impressed. There were 2 young men there who between them, I think one got 10 prizes for coming top in subject, and the other got 7 or 8. Quite impressive, and the teachers were saying how proud they were of them. But nonetheless, when the principal went through the results for the year, there were quite some sort of shocking statistics that he read out, including the low statistics for English literature. But he said, then let me explain. And he explained that at one point the English literature teacher, who'd been there for 10 years or something, had reached retirement age. They wanted to retain him. They weren't allowed to. They brought in 2 other teachers, one of whom hardly ever turned up in class. And he said the children really suffered. And he said, I have to say this honestly. He said, because I have the parents here, and they might be concerned as to why their children have performed so badly. So there are lots of factors as to why we are getting these, quite
Yeah, but
dreadful
nationally,
results.
these statistics we read, these numbers we're reading, it's really very disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, the press release ends by saying, on behalf of the chairman, etc., wishes to register the council's profound appreciation of the immense support rendered by the Gambian government through MOPSI, and then in a similar vein, also recognizes and appreciates the full efforts of other stakeholders, including its esteemed examiners, principals. What are they thanking them for exactly? For these abysmal results?
Yeah.
Should blast them, even if it's a press release. You
Well,
know?
this is how it works. I mean, I expect a lot from the exam body. I think they should try to encourage students to do better. I mean, although for them they are responsible for only setting up the exams to make sure students write the exams, to make sure all the necessary things are provided so that they can do their examinations. But I think professionalism also should be observed when it comes to their operation. I have not seen any professionalism.
Depends. I mean, what are you in what context have you not seen professionalism?
Well, I've not seen professionalism in this press release.
Right.
I mean, it should be well articulate.
True,
I've
true.
not seen that. I mean, you've just pointed out some of the errors here, and I know another person also is sitting outside and pointing out those errors.
Without
Well, I definitely wouldn't thank anybody for these figures. I would rather point out, the problems in there and what needs to be done.
That's what they should be saying.
Then,
They should be saying this is a wake-up call,
It's-
something like that.
It's nothing to be, it's not something to be proud of, really. What? Only 1.31% out of a possible 100? Had what, 9?
Yeah, and you're
Had,
saying
credit passes in 9 subjects.
yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, because in the same vein that they're congratulating these people who they say immensely contributed to the successful conduct of the examination, I guess that means they got the children to sit in class and take these exams. They should have had another paragraph or two saying that, however, these results are a wake-up call for us, something like that, you know. But to say nothing, maybe there's a page 2 that we don't have, but
Yeah.
you know.
So I think, I mean, this too should be a wake-up call for parents, you know, school administrators as well. You know, it should be an all-inclusive approach to solving this problem. It shouldn't just be blame.
Let's
Yeah,
talk
quite.
about socially. I mean, I think students also, most of the time, our recent students are not focused. I mean, I think focusing, it's the problem.
Go to traffic lights
now
in
we
the
have a
afternoon.
lot of students who believe in partying. We have a lot of students who believe in enjoyment. We have a lot of students who believe in a whole lot of
The pool parties, the prom
Enjoyment.
nights.
Do you know what I gave the keynote or guest speaker speech at this graduation yesterday, and the topic they gave me was issues affecting youths, and it says the impact of social media on education. And so I didn't want it to be totally negative, because even the subject, the theme, suggests a negative, you know, issues affecting youth. And so what I said to them is that, if it made me laugh, I said, out of the 300 sitting in front of me, I said, how many of you have smartphones? And only 2 people put their hand up. And I said, well, that's a joke for a start. I said, I bet 99% of you have smartphones.
Absolutely.
I said, well, how many of you use it to study, to practice? I said, your principal has just given us the list of where there were failures. I said, every one that he mentioned where there's a failure, whether it's maths, science, literature, and so on, you can find stuff online to help you. Use this tool you have. Don't abuse it. You know, use it to learn. You have a library in your hand.
Students prefer.
I had to go to 4 or 5 libraries.
Social
Instagram,
media,
TikTok,
on WhatsApp,
Instagram,
a whole lot
TikTok,
of TikTok videos.
Facebook.
I mean,
You know,
students.
And so, you know,
it's a problem. It's a general problem.
Yeah, yes.
Not only, I mean, few people. We have them. Even my own sister. I mean, sometimes I struggle a lot to tell her, read. Leave the phone. Please go and read.
I hope she's not watching. But
Well, I know. I mean, she knows her
she's
brother
watching.
tells her this thing all the time. Go and read. Come on, forget about videos. Stop dancing in the house.
TikTok.
I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, so
But
it's a problem. It's a general problem.
It is a problem, and if any of them are watching, not just the ones yesterday, I left them with this. I said, stop whatever you're doing and just listen. I said, LSNE. And they were like, what is that? I said, I want you to promise me that with your phones, you will learn something new every day. Simple. Simple. You know, whether it's, I said, and so the next time Corker sees you in the street, he's not going to bamboozle you with a question, because you've learned something new and you might be able to answer. You know,
No,
I try to make it
You know,
lighthearted.
sometimes people tend to use
You know.
Corker's program as a comedy program.
There's a lot
It's
to
not
learn,
comedy.
really.
That program, when you look at it at some point, it will tell you the standard of the, not only the students, but the standard of the people that are living in this country. Certain things you don't know.
Basic
When did the
questions.
Gambia gain independence? You don't know.
I was
Basic
shocked
questions.
when I saw people not answering that one.
Who is the, if you tell them who is the first president of the Republic of the Gambia, they don't know. Who was the prime minister of the Gambia, they don't know. You understand? So these are certain things. Students cannot answer certain things. Students cannot answer maybe 5 plus 5 plus 10 minus 2.
Yeah, quite.
It's a problem. Students cannot answer how many regions do we have in the Gambia. What's the meaning of URR? Some cannot answer. And they are in grade 9.
Well, you're right. I mean, when Corker comes and discusses the program, I've always said to him, use it as making learning fun. So it's not a comedy program necessarily. It's just that you should enjoy learning facts and statistics and what have you, and history.
But we cannot blame him. Even the host of the program is confused. So it's difficult to understand.
But you know, I think it is a serious matter that children essentially walk around with a library in their pockets or in their hands, and they're not using that library. You know, and I said to them, I said, if I was in your position and you know, some people, they're too shy to ask a question in class. Well, type it on Google or some search engine. say, okay, you make a note of it, and then when you're out of class, you look it up, you know, and then that way you're helping the teacher, you're educating yourself at the same time. So that was kind of the basis of my speech.
I mean, by then there were no mobile phones. I mean,
they weren't even around when I was.
That's the time when I know the Macmillan dictionary, the Collins. You understand?
Yeah. Collins,
you know, we have Collins, we have Macmillan, Oxford.
All of those are now online, by the way.
All those dictionaries, we have to go to the library
and they were this big.
And search for them.
They were this big.
You know, they were this, I can remember. The
I had a small one.
The Oxford was a big one.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, now you have everything here.
Sure.
You know, so I think education is made easier. And you can even sit at home and learn.
Well, this is and in fact that was the example I gave them, that, you know, because of COVID, people had to stay home, and if we had had a better structure in terms of, you know, connectivity, then they could have taught everybody. My sister works at a school in Miami, 1,300 children. They were all given a tablet to go home during COVID, and they stayed for months, in fact, almost a year. None of them, but they still took their lessons every day. You know, we don't have that capacity here, obviously, but nonetheless, you do have these tools. So essentially, that was what I was telling them, that, you know, you can learn, you can teach yourself, and use it for stuff besides Facebook and TikTok and what. Nobody's saying don't have fun, but, you know, at the same time, you know, there are tools that you can use to, you know, up your education and improve yourself. Yeah. Yes,
interesting. So now we'll still go back to our newspaper review before we say bye to Mr. Ade. Let's talk about agriculture. Agri Ministry debunks so-called financial grant as fake.
Is it fake? So what have they said exactly? You're the man with
They said it's fake.
Which grant?
It has been brought to the attention of the Ministry of Agriculture of the Gambia that Fictionio's Facebook page has been created in the name of the ministry, claiming to offer financial grant to farmers in the Gambia.
Oh, wow. Dear. That's naughty. You know, when people do these things, I always wonder what kind of wickedness
what do they even hope to
propels somebody to do that. You know, but obviously there are people who try these things and they try and con people. In fact, yesterday I got a text from a friend saying that she got a text from somebody claiming to be me, asking her to send money to me, which was quite funny. You know, but obviously my you know, account, you know, email account had been hacked somehow. It's just a joke, but you wonder why. So some people do it because they have crooked intentions, of course. They might say, to get this grant, send $2,000 and you'll get a $50,000 because there's a form that has to be blah, blah, blah.
You need to buy the form.
You need to buy the form.
And you know, people can go to the, people can become so professional, they can create those forms and tell you where to buy them.
I don't know, I mean.
Well, if they can go to Facebook, create an account like that.
You can buy this form.
They can do anything.
For $2,000. Imagine how many farmers in URR, how many farmers in CRR, LRR, and NBR will buy those forms. I mean, they can have stations. They can be like, I mean, if you go to this place in the market, you'll get. If you go here, you'll get. So
it's good that the ministry has clarified this.
I think it's good that
so people would know.
Yes, and with things like, you know, Adobe, you can, you know, PDF editor and Photoshop. You can in Sierra Leone they've recently taken to sending out fake press releases claiming they're from government, alleging all sorts of things, because you can just copy the stamp from a genuine government press release and stick it, you know, and then you sort of erase all the lines so you don't see the join, and it looks like a genuine press release until you start reading and you think, well, government said that, and then you go on their website. You go on the website, thankfully most of their websites are up to date, and it's fake.
Mr. Ade, you know, one thing in the Gambia, I've seen it's easy to plagiarize with certain documents. It's easy.
They do it here, I've seen it here.
There are people that are sitting at a corner. They are very good at that. I mean, they can copy, paste, they can put logos, they can put even your stamp, they can forge it for you.
Yeah. I mean, but of course, I mean, worldwide there are people who can fake a whole bank website. There's a guy, Nigerian guy, Hush Puppy, who's now in America, arrested in Dubai and taken to America, and he's alleged to have swindled people out of about $150 million. He was living a very fancy lifestyle. In fact, I think it's more than that. And you know, in some of the instances, what they did was he mimicked a genuine bank's website and sent stuff to people saying, you know, there's an error with your invoice. Can you send your proper account number so we can verify it? And some people fall for it stupidly. You know, they send the real bank account details, and then of course they transfer the money. I mean,
and look at the life this guy was living.
Hundreds of millions.
Unbelievable.
Posting, you know, 4 Bentleys and
man must survive. Man must survive anyway. So Mr. Ade, I think we'll take a leave of you.
Sure.
Thank you very much for joining us on the newspaper review.
Always a pleasure.
And you know, we are hoping you'll join us again on our subsequent programs.
I hope so, and hopefully we have better news than we had from the MOPSI exam
Absolutely.
results.
I believe MOPS will do another press release and send it to us, telling us, I mean, in connection with what you said today, we are changing everything again.
And mostly that is how the language is, the language sounds rather.
Absolutely. Yes.
In connection.
They will connect and give you the date in connection with the subject that you discussed, dated, that and that. They are very good at that.
Like Jenna would say, in relation to.
In relation to. Absolutely. Yes. So thank you, Mr. Ade, for joining us. We'll take a short break. After the break, then we will talk to legal aid. You know, we want to know their functions. We want to know what they do. We've been seeing legal aid. I think at some point we invited them here sometime last year. They were here. And today we'll be having Kemo Sise from NALA, and we'll be discussing some of their responsibilities. Of course, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues.
All right.
Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at QCell Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boost Turntable. Contact us on 333-3217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
You are watching QTV this morning, and we are back again after that break, and we've discussed a whole lot of stuff on this program. If you want to follow it, go to our website or our Facebook page, QTV, and of course on our YouTube channel, qtv.gm. And now we'll go straight to Community Watch. We have Kemo Sise from Nala, and we'll be discussing the work of legal aid. As you know, I mean, they've been in the country for a long time, and you know, we've been hearing a whole lot of radio talk shows about legal aid and what they do. Mrs. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
It's good to have you.
I know it was short notice, but I mean, you endeavor to be here on time.
Yes.
Yes, we appreciate that. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's start with what you do. But I want to clarify this. We have NALA, we have legal aid. What is the difference? I just want you to clarify that.
Legal aid is a short form of, or shortened form of NALA. NALA, in fact, is also a certain form of the proper name of the agency, which is a statutory body in the Gambia. The full name is National Agency for Legal Aid. It was created by an Act of Parliament or National Assembly back in 2008. Its sole mandate is to administer access to justice through legal aid. In other words, to help people who deserve or who are eligible for legal assistance, because legal aid is quite wide. It includes so many things, but all relating to access to justice for people who are eligible and deserving.
Yes,
yeah, so talking about access to justice, how do you guys, I mean, offer services to people in the event, let's say I want NALA's help, what do I do and what kind of help do you offer?
At the moment, our service is broadly free in nature. And that is to educate mass public about the importance of access to justice and to give advice. It can be general, it can be specific, to answer a specific question from a specific person, but it can also be representation. The idea...
Wait, you people are helping people get access to justice at no cost?
Yes, that is the intention.
That's important.
So Legal Aid Act, as I said, is it's a state institution and it's created for that purpose. And you have to understand this because Gambia, being not isolated from the international community, is part of the idea that every country should endeavor to make sure that people do have recourse and redress when they are wrong, either in civil context or when they are accused of committing criminal offense or offenses. So if they can afford, they can, or if they are able, they can represent themselves. If they can't, but can afford to, they can hire a lawyer of their choice. If both these, if neither is possible, then the state is under obligation in certain circumstances to provide legal representation or lawyers to represent this person's interest. And that's what is meant by access to justice. So you helping this person to realize what is their right, especially in criminal context. But you might be asking this later on, maybe I'm going too fast.
No,
but
it's okay.
Yes,
I mentioned representation, and that is why our scope at the moment is limited insofar as representation is concerned. That is, we don't represent people other than those faced with what we call capital offenses. And that is people charged with treason, murder, manslaughter, rape, arson, and serious robberies. Outside of this group of offenses, our mandate is quite limited, and that is it's a government policy.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, you've really spilled the beans there. So now, let's talk about the justice system. I know you are involved in helping other people stand on their case. I mean, especially people who cannot afford it. But let's talk about the justice system. As you know, we are just trying to transition when it comes to the justice system in this country. So what are some of the difficulties that you face in accessing cases to help certain people? Because you might try to, I mean, provide legal aid to a certain number of people or certain group, but I mean, it might not favor, I mean, the state, it might not favor our justice system.
Even generally, challenges you face in your work.
I don't think it's a question of it might or might not favor the state. I think what is important and is not disputed is that everybody has a stake in ensuring that justice is realized. And that includes victims, witnesses, and accused persons in criminal context. In civil context, it means that if we are wrong by anybody, whether the person is weak, strong, powerful, it doesn't matter, because we are subscribing as a nation or as a civilized nation to the idea of rule of law, which means that everybody is below the law, and the law applies to everybody without any exception. Where there may be exceptions, it could be explained, like, for example, a serving president might not be subjected to certain legal procedures or proceedings, but otherwise everybody is below the law, and this is how you can have what we call rule of law. So the law takes its course. There are a lot of problems with accessing justice, if I understand your question properly. In our Gambian context, first, the number of lawyers available is, I know this may sound paradoxical.
We need more lawyers.
we do need more lawyers. And not only we need more lawyers, we need good, effective, and competent lawyers who are interested in, foremost, realizing justice, attaining justice. We also need more capacity for legal aid lawyers in particular, because they invariably, by the nature of their creation and their work, deal with vulnerable people, including children, women, and those who are weak, who have little education, who have little understanding of our laws. You have to remember, our laws are not our culture. It's packaged in archaic old English language. And even those who been to university, you need some bit of training.
You need people who understands the language.
Exactly. So that's another problem. The language and the way the law is, and the accessibility of law itself. And I'm saying this in the context of both civil and criminal cases. So people need to know, or should be able to fairly find out what law applies to them in a given circumstances. They may not know integrity details of technicalities and everything else, but they need to have a fair idea about what the law stands insofar as their personal conduct is concerned, civil or criminal. Another problem is that there is a significant delay in our justice system, and that is also down to lack of investment, generally speaking. And when I said this, I mean the whole nation. It is not one person's responsibility. It is something that is fundamental, and you can't afford to invest in justice system, because if you do, you are storing a big problem for yourself. So the Gambia needs more courts, more judges, and more support staff in the judiciary to make sure that cases come and are dealt with quickly, so that people who are wrong get their redress, and those who needs to be put somewhere in order to protect the public are also properly and justly convicted and put in prison, if that is the ultimate penalty that they will have to face. We also have geographical location or points of access to justice. For example, at the moment, you may know this already, but there isn't a single law firm established in any part of the Gambia outside Banjul and Greater Banjul area.
Yeah.
So even Brikama, which is the main administrative center of the whole West Coast region, as far as I'm aware, there is not a single law office there. And you can't blame private lawyers for not doing this because they are in business and they need to be where the courts are. They need to be where the justice actors are. So, and this is also inhibiting people's access to justice. Say, for example, in Kaur, Frafenye, Yarasoma, Basse, and other places. Of course, there is now a high court based in Basse. Until recently, it was sort of like a temporary one, and it sits as and when possible. But now we do have a permanent
We have one.
judge.
So, I mean, you're telling us, I mean, I don't understand when you say we need more lawyers in this country. You know, we have a whole lot of students graduating. We have a whole lot of people that are being called to the bar. I mean, so I'll be confused if you want our country to be packed with lawyers?
Well, maybe
Mr. Sise?
No, the market will regulate itself. I think if I'm not wrong, America has more lawyers per capita than any other country in the world. But the lawyers are not redundant there. At the moment, even a casual observer will see that most of Gambian lawyers are engaged in very limited, narrow areas of practice, mainly land and perhaps maybe criminal cases. If you go to any of our courts, just follow how cases are proceeding in court. Most of them will be land cases. And certainly, I have followed this particular tribunal called district tribunals. If you go there now, they meant to be serving, dispensing justice in many areas, but if you go there now, you'll find the courts packed full, all about land cases. If you go to high court, most of the cases are about land cases. Very narrow, or very small number of cases are in other areas. For example, public law is not highly developed here. Lawyers are not, as far as I'm aware, helping, or people are not litigating against government decisions. And this is where you have the public law. NAWEX makes a decision, ports makes a decision, GRA makes a decision, local government makes a decision, all the ministries, all processes make a decision, and these decisions affect people. And they should be able to accept or reject these decisions based on the law. If they're not happy, they should be able to challenge those decisions. This is not a very popular area. You have insurance. You have serious accidents happening here. You have people causing accidents who don't have any insurance, and people don't actually engage their insurance companies to get compensation or redress. You have, I'll have to say in court, a lot of deaths that happen in hospitals, which by look of it, some of them might be due to negligence. You have to have legal rules applied to these people. Where there is negligence, some sort of redress should be obtained. These are not things that we know in this Gambia here. I'm not aware of anybody who has been able to successfully sue either government medical department or a private clinic where somebody died or somebody received inadequate treatment or a treatment that went wrong. Of course, accidents can happen.
Yes, but Mr. Sise, I think that's the responsibility of legal aid too. I mean, to sensitize the people on these things.
But that's what we do. We do.
How often do you do this?
Well,
and how do you do it?
It depends on, we don't have capacity. We have a serious capacity problems.
Oh yeah, many people complain of that.
Yes, it has to be said.
Yes.
Talking about capacity and you know, these challenges, some of the challenges you face. I know you did say earlier that almost all the services you provide are at no cost for your clients. So I was just wondering, how does NALA survive? Do you get any subvention, or I mean, any financial support from anyone?
NALA is supposed to be funded by the central government.
Supposed?
Yes. Well, it must be. Must be, because it's a state creation. So you pay tax, I pay tax. Those taxes we know are collected. The taxes are collected and put in central government's coffers, and they will have to provide service. One of the services that the central government has to provide is legal aid to people who cannot afford to pay for their own lawyers. So because of that, you will have to establish an agency, and that's why NALA or Legal Aid Agency was created and be staffed by both support and professional lawyers. You need to be able to pay these lawyers sufficient good remuneration to be able to first recruit them and retain them, and they want to stay.
But
to provide
this funding you mentioned that is supposed to come from central government, is it forthcoming? Has it been coming?
Yes, the government provides funding, but it is not the way that it should be.
How is it done?
At the moment, legal aid, and many people ask me this, and they said, well, you represent us against the Minister of Justice, for example, because Minister of Justice lawyers come to court to prosecute, so we will be defending. And they say, but you are funded by the Minister of Justice. Okay, that is normal in administrative situation where a particular agency is linked to a ministry. But for just certain things, but when it comes to the core functions, NALA must be and is supposed to be independent both operationally and financially. So for convenience, even before the new dispensation, NALA Legal Aid Agency is attached to Ministry of Justice, but it is not independent in terms of money. So NALA can provide its budget, give it to the ministry. It's down to the ministry what it gives to NALA. That is unsatisfactory, and that's why, if you know, the National Human Rights Commission was in the same situation, but they had to be, they had to go independent.
Yeah.
Well,
So
given how important, I mean, the job that you people do is, I think, you know, NALA should be independent,
Yes.
financially and even in terms of.
Well, because you know
That's what the law says.
Administrative
That's what the law says. You are right. That's what the law says. But at the moment, things are not working in that way. We are working towards a situation where, because this is a permanent national institution.
If I am funding you to represent clients who have a case against me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's yes.
Because
many
I
people
mean,
ask questions
they said,
about this. Yes.
he who feeds you
Yes.
controls you.
Absolutely, I
I mean,
agree.
so that's my that's what I have.
And I believe if once you are independent financially, most of these challenges will disappear. Because
Some because
yeah.
it depends on
able
still
to handle
how much money is allocated, and that is a political decision. The more money you allocate, the more you are going to be able to hire a very effective and competent lawyers who would want to stay.
Then maybe the National Assembly and the Human Rights Commission should look into this.
It's a stake.
Yeah.
All
Really
stakeholders. It's an institution where in which all stakeholders should get interest in, should be interested in, to make sure that it is robust, independent, and strong.
So
Otherwise,
where is your office located? If someone needs your service, where do they go to?
We have 3 offices at the moment. The head office is in Canifing, just off the Jimpex area of the road there. It is now occupying the building that used to be occupied by the defunct Daily Observer. So that's where we are.
Okay.
And our signboard is there actually. We are working towards setting up our website so people can see us online and perhaps maybe make a contact. But we, apart from the head office, we have office in Brikama and we have office in Basse. So people can go to these offices if they need.
All right. On a final note, before we come to the end of the program, let's talk about your legal aid caravan. You know, at some point I heard about a particular caravan, and it's a legal aid caravan.
I think you're referring to what was a project that was funded by the European Union, if I remember correctly. I wasn't on the scene at the time.
Okay.
But it was on the line of providing publicity. And now we call it Mobile Legal Aid Clinic. We do it still now. Our main sponsors in this regard, the UNDP and UNICEF. We regularly identify communities and settlements where we go in person and give general overview of their rights and responsibilities, especially children. We go into schools to talk to youngsters, because we see a rise in criminal conduct by many young people who should be in school and busy with their studies. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the society, we've seen a rise in criminal conduct by children. So we go to the schools to educate them with the view to divert their attention from criminal conduct to proper conduct, and also to know their right, especially when they are victims of abuse one way or the other. So we still do that, and we also, at the end of, or as part of the mobile legal aid clinic, what happens is that we give general talk about rights and responsibilities, and then we give people opportunity to come and talk to lawyers on one-to-one basis, with specific problems that they may have, and where it's possible, we will give advice. Sometimes that resolves the matter. Sometimes we refer them to private practitioners if it is out of our scope. So, for example, if somebody comes with a serious commercial issue, it might be a commercial issue, but they may not have enough money, or they may not have any money at all to be able to engage a private lawyer. But then we can give them advice. We can even help them draft some document, but we can't represent them, because at the moment that is out of our scope. We're waiting. If government implements the Legal Aid Act fully, then we will be able to advise people and represent people with civil cases where negligence or breach of contract or trespass or so many other things.
So I hope you're pushing for the government to implement the act.
Well, the government knows this, and we are engaging the relevant departments. It is known, everybody knows that there's a section of legal aid which is not still in place, and it is to do with the condition of there being a minimum wage known or established by the government. So if somebody, if that minimum wage is known or established, then one of the criteria that will be used to decide whether or not somebody is eligible for legal aid would be whether or not they earn below or above minimum wage. And of course, there will be some assessment as to the merit of the case, because it doesn't mean that everybody who comes in you'll get legal aid, but your means will be tested, assessed, and the merit of your case will also be assessed and see whether or not it is cause that deserves utilization of public funds.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Cisse, for coming on this program and honoring our invitation. Yeah, I know we'll engage you more, and don't hesitate to contact us. We will be ready to partner with you people,
absolutely,
you know, in providing legal aid to the Gambian population.
We are available at your service, and we are always willing. And as I said, this is part of our mandate to sensitize public. It can be via TV, radio, face-to-face, general gatherings, schools, universities. So it's part of our mandate. You will find us ready and willing to work with you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll go straight to the click segment. We'll be back.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more for just $4,275. You can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, we innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324-4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With the touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me.
We are back again. I wish you can know, what happened. Yes,
I wish not.
You see, I'm going this way, and Tres is bringing me this way. So Tres, you mean I should be this way?
It's not Tres.
Right? Teresa.
Thank you. It's Tres.
Mother Teresa.
It's full of man.
All right, so we are back again. And of course, you are watching QTV this morning. And we are going straight to the click segment. And we have a very agile guest in the studio today. And I wouldn't let anybody introduce that person, but I'll allow my brother, Seaboy Churchill Balde, to do that. Here comes... Here comes my brother, my family, my blood, Churchill Balde.
Well, anyways, assalamu alaikum. Comes my brother nko here, Ibrahim Balle. Tay artist bu fi am is agile. Dafa holal man bu ñoo ñew sa ci ko mu ne mané bu dara séra na miti. Wow, so suñu gan bi tay is no other than W2. My brother.
Yo, bro.
Ñu ngi la dalal ci sun morning program bi, this morning show.
Yo, Game, what's up, my people, man? It's your boy, W2, Mr. Zemafu. Comme, wow, di nuyu ñëpp xam nga, di nuyu ñëpp ñi ku tepp ku toog right now di seetaan QTV rek W2 mu la nuyu. Di nuyu waa Bruce bi fi ma jógee Banjul fu ma juddoo xam. Di nuyu suma uncle Mr. Balle. Yeah, si boy bi ma la nuyu. I see you, man. Zemafu dara yow ma la ko wax de. Ma la comme bu dara seera tey.
Comme dara du seera. Fu ñoo dooree waagum sa mooy Zemafu. Sa yoon nekk
Zemafu. Sama yoon. Waaw nga na ko Banjul nag.
Fii nga am
doomi Banjul la.
Moo ko lette.
Fii dafa war a tàng.
Non na tàng rek bu dara seera moo tax ma ne la comme uyuma. Ñu ne rap moo yëfi bandi moo tax ma doon si kaca fan. Waga boodu bandi boy te suuta Amadou Salobar ay old school bi new school bi ñoom ñëpp ma eb si suma gaal gi léegi mu teer def trend di vidéo J Life bi maa fi disoon rap ay jaasee pel di génna street talk ma dem toj ko J Life jël ko leeral hey ay sa Gambie mu dance ko song bi aga viral bro ma wax si ngàttal li mooy yoon bu yàlla nekkal Ukraine Putin daf ko taal nga ne ma Zemafu Alpha Condé dañ ko ku loolu Zemafu drug squad yi ñoo fi daaxa fuuf Zemafu ma ne Yaya Jammeh duñ ko aate xanaa Zemafu it's your boy double two
boy the studio is going down.
But I feel goosebumps all over my body.
Oh my God.
Wow, say, mashallah.
I love the lyrics.
Teguna. teguna masha Allah. Well, you started the name W2.
Yeah.
Naka la ñëwi.
Waaw W2 comme like man sooy xool comme tuddee ma ko suma bopp xam.
Ok.
Suma tooma ki nga xam ne nii moom ni ma tuddee Yusufa. Moom wéykat la woon comme man moom mun naa ooyee U22 anti starlight.
Ok.
Man moo ñëwee nag si laa génnee U22 bi suma daat since time do W2 la ma dee ooyee.
Ok.
moo tax after man dama mag rek continuer ak W2 bi xam.
Creative. That's absolute creativity.
Real.
Lii mooy artist. Boy bële tey moom kay moom real artist la ñu am.
dafa war a raay.
Dafa tegu ba pare.
kii mu ngi mel ni rap buñ ko doon tabax moom mooy maçon. loolu daf ko nuroo de.
So yow naka nga ñëw into the music scene?
Yeah, music scene bi ñu ngi si ñëw about 2019 bi yooyu noonu xam.
Ok.
si dañ si dugga commencé ko nag man maa suma benn boy yi naa ñoo ko doon def ba after ku nekk comme di demal sa bopp right now. But maa ngi ko door 2019 bi laa ko dooree from cypher yi rap battle li ñu daan demantu ak yooyu suñu waa koñ. gars yi dañu gën a pousse booy mun nga koo def ak yu demee noonu xam. waaw si nañ def nii dugal si
booy ñoo leen dee dugal booy nag ñoo leen dee dugal léegi leen a egg nii stage nii freestyle ñu ne waaw say mu ngi ba baax.
for real comme noonu la fa demee xam nga dañ ko daan foyee nii ba pare ñun musique dafa nekk si ñun. ñun dañ juddoo si kër ngewel mbayeen xam nga Banjul. suma papa di woy suma tooma di woy. so man su ma wuyut comme lan laa war a def.
yow kañ soo
man woy rek laa war a def
yow soo wuyut dama am pour woy.
su ma woyee dama am pour woy su ma wuyut dama am pour woy. moo tax ma ne la rap yëpp lay daaneel ku pa leen ni batalo joola ma ne da ngaa sóob di wax rek su ma kanam yow xam nga doolaal man su ma yoon a seet leer nañ teg si bëri ay doodaan coow bi nga dégga man la maa ngi si yoon ak sarde komba.
non yaa ngi gaaw ba yëg ko.
ñu ngi si yoon ak sarde komba nga musique bi am nañ jaba at bi suma borom bilahi
am na loo lu very important.
yeah
comme doguma la de yaa ngi ne am na kooko starta na ndoor waaye yàlla def ku nekk di demalal boppam.
waaw comme
mun nañoo xam kan la ak lu waral loolu noonu.
waaw ndigam yaa ma si indi xam nga dinaa ko tudd comme bugguma woon a ñëw sax di wax comme
mooy
turi
des moo leen def foog mu leer.
waaw foog mu leer tam xam bugguma woon a ñëw sax comme di wax leneen ak leneen ak yooyu bon am na ko ma doon raabal maa moom musique boole wut ñu woon nag school lañ bokkoon xam nga muy grill boy fa naa dégga ngeen ko fi ak yooyu
waaw
foofu la doo laan dégga ana suma xaj bi attaque bobi zu nga ne yaay yàlla game bi boy dangay dul doo seet taat sa wot si balaa nga koy po sama tur man dafa ma jiitu de dawul tout moo bind loolu moo ko woy but grill is my OG is my family comme moo tax ma toogee gis ko mu dem viral dama kontaan but man bi ku ko woy attaque ko ñu ko tuddee xaj dawul tout mu ngi nii
dama bëgg understand
bobi si ko zu mais fi geng xam nañ ma bu baax
dama bëgg understand dara loolu is it yours or bu grill la dama bëgg mu leer
non loolu moom man su ma taxee fi sax ay comme dama bëggoon comme soo leen génnee ifit ngeen laajte nit yi nga xam ne xam nañ dawulan grill loolu maa ko job maa ko binda grill maa ñëw ne ko ma ne dama bëgg a attaque laa bëgg a diis because jamono yooyu ñu ngi jos dugga si rap bi suñ first song maanaam moom maa ko ñi ko yóbbu studio ñu dem ma ne ko man de lii ak lii laa tegaloon attaque ana suma xaj bi attaque bobi zu nga ne yaay yàlla game bi bro maa ko teg boog moo dama kontaan ma toogee dégg a grill comme seraat ko si media bi tam wax ko mu dem viral ayala mooy suma ayala tam xam nga because grill tey lu mu def si rap rek yàlla man double two soo moo tax su jugee suma tur su jugee suma ayala comme bet dama see kontaan loolu dara xam
it's all love
it's all love man
so léegi yéen yow yaa moom right now mu ngi naa job si any music or whatsoever any project
mun
te mu ngi over cool comme all love
mu ngi cool maa moom ñu ngi see xay jaam ak sama family school lañ bokkoon maa moom
xam nga lan moo ma jaaxal
déedéet
lu tax yéen every time da ngeen dee bugg a dis attaque
foofu laa doon
lu tax ngeen a ooye attaque xaj boobi
waaw ana sama xaj bi
xam nga lu attaque ooye boppam yàlla game bi moo leen naxari xaw ma
waaw attaque nag moom mu ne moom mooy yàlla game gi fii kenn mënu koo wàcce te ñun loolu la
waaye
loolu lañ bugg a believe de
moo tax man may ko loolu ba pare ñëwaat ko mayal ko partout ne ko jine moo mun doma Big Rose góor jigéen la ana góor ak umba ma ne sa waaji Rose ndekete attaque moo ko umba
da nga fa ne si
moo tax mu génne clip dañu rey ak dangal
da nga fa ne si attaque rek la am ak Big Rose
man ñëpp la non Rose dama ko may boos du ko may hype rek Rose moom kenn xam na ne Rose hit na ma dama ko bugg a isi waat rek Big Rose comédien la
so you mean
attaque ma ko ñu nga tëddee xaj di ko bobi comme
so you mean Big Rose is pregnant
te attaque moo ko def
technically
ngente bi yaa ko xam naa ne ngente bi fi lañ ko defee inshallah dama télé yi bay
so fi mu nekk ni studio baa ngi on fire right now léegi ba ñu cool off ñu dem seetaan music video xam nga ñu mun a xam kan moo nekk W2
Zama Fu
ba ñu dem seetaan music video and we'll be right back stay tuned
yow lan la xewati uy yaa ngi doon xale bi malaaka la yaa ngi yàlla la ko yàlla jàppale kon tuula tey ñu ci la gënu ñu di war baxa barke borom ku la nak la génne li nak la ñu war a am tey waxatu billahi wala doom xol yàlla
Yo.
It's your boy Double 2. Let's do gang. Kurang dak kurang lilu ko dak du am nga ne ma kurang dak kurang lilu ko dak ma ne du am rapa yëpp lay daaneel kupal leen ni batalo joola da nga soob di wax rek suma kanam yow xam nga doon la man suma yoon a set leer nañ teg si bari ay dóor daal jow bi nga dégg man la mang si yoon ak sarga combat nickname bi dawul nga ne real name bi use boy dama ak si pexe jeex ni ku ñamale buuf ci mbuus old school nga de my boy ma doo fi rus man xaw ma xale nga wala mag fi ku ñëw di naa ko ñus du ma dee dox si jàmm te du ma dee àtte xeex musiba naaru lay laas yéen ku ma tray nga dee ma jël sa rapa def taati neen duñ parti neen boy like ma wala nga xeet double bañ ko wala nga
no continue ko demal
ma ne ko zema fou pour soo ma xamul man la double two boy am di bades duut diñ ko ragal xoolal yëppay cool yàlla buur rujum man dama ko ñemee yàgg xuus di puus fii kurut god du tus léegen dee rest in peace to you ñun den jekki tàkk jipéet foog sa rapa yile ma ne bii bayre di nga laajte fan la ko boy bi jile si géej gi asamaan si non est-ce que kii du jine may tama ñaari boor may boy man fu ma neex ma tege
comme kii li
man lyrics bi jeex bro man comme déggaloo ma na Gambia amul rap billahi Gambia musique amu fi
maa ngi dégg ne tamit dang dee mun a sabar
déggaloo ma ne la
boo tam si skills la bokk
déggaloo song bi ma ne la si deret bi la dañoo ndaga comme si deret bi man mbayaan laa juddoo Banjul mbayaan ku ko xamul su ma ñoom maam ñooy si Sahir ak Kabir si amul ku leen xamul si tiga sabar so man suma musique
dégg naa tam 50 mu ne comme Kabir ak sabaram I don't know si benn songam
yeah tam 50 tam suma maam lañ ko tuddee xam nga suma maam tafsir de moom lañ ko tuddee
ok
yeah so ku ma wax noonu Kabir Mbaye suma oncle la so ñun dañ judi si géwél xam nga doomi géwél pur moo taxaw nii di wax double two
man boy bi moom comme macha Allah
Mr. Sema
full package
yi
confidence bi mu ngi fa kenn du werante ne mun na li moo def song bi neex na bëgguñ nag mu nekk one off I hope na luy continuer rek accéléré rek
inshallah
one hit wonder
am benn hype nii rek tuuti rek nga dem
non inshallah rabbi luy continuer la ñun ñëwuñ pour déggaloo ma maa ngi si yoon ak sa combat su ñëwee yëpp dañoo setal so ñu fekk dañ la bon
léegi ñu ngi expect any project from you
yeah Zema Fou di EP is on the way coming ñu ko waaj xam nga Zema Fou EP bi na ko Gambia waaj bu baax a baax ñu ngi see job songs yoo xam ne ni suñ EP mooy gars yi seen album ñoom fii laa lay gis Gambia big artist génne album mais la ay 5 tracks 6
so ñun la ñuy expect si EP boobu noonu
EP bi at least 10 songs dina génn inshallah bro te bu nekk du utee sa
wax na digga de man mostly nag EP ay 6 laa dee digga 4 léegi fi mu nekk nii léegi dañoo dugg si freestyle session bi nga mu ñamal ñu si tuuti rek waaw si lu ñoo expect waaw time bi si des bëreetul waaw control room please give me my beat and let him smash it déema yaa ngi misoon fii freestyle bu ne déema Osaasi gang bi laa fi amoon tuuti ma reegay déema tiif le yoo xaral le yow mën naa yow am nañ wax after ñu dem
yo yii maa ngi kuuri Baye Fall di tàpp ay boy ngeen di critique karta double two la foog Adija Pama gaawal dem oyi faya service boy maa ngi taal i rapa red wine ni dereti rapa tey ku ñëw ma saaf la bro oyee ma saf la ma ne diwlin bi saas na tey ma tekki raaka teg ci gaz bi o duma yi bañ la man la Yaaya Jammeh wax lu la neex laa fi tere ni laa koy defe ku wax ma kil jàppa di tëjee jàmm du dugg te takkuma téere ku fi ñëw ma tur sa deret man yàlla ma taal ma niga te taal bu yàlla taal bokkut ak bu nawek ma ne antal naa Afrique dam ko yenu sànni safara ku ami juruma ay ma dee la maguma man kenn ma jiite Afrique Obama seedama maa ngi si job bi yaa ngi si coow li rab bu bon bi géemu der bi ga musique bi deba tekki dag ma jéppi ree ma léegi rab di tuf li gis nga léegi ama tufi yo boy did too
hey
comme dara yow Gambia
lines yaa ngi tegu metaphor everything is on deck
waaw lu la neex la koy tere
waaw anyways ñëw nañ si end of the show ñu bàyyi la nga tàggatoo ak sa fans yi ak sa am di jàmm yi
yeah I'm so happy man I'm so happy si boy xam nga tey ala musa gis pom good man nga ko xamul nga tamit ni nga ma welcome kontaan naa si Mr Balle suma oncle nga xam ne moom mooy yëpp
waaw yàgg nañ lii nag yàgg nañ koo waajal waaye yàlla
teel a ko yàlla dogal xam nga ba yàlla nu mu ko tuddee rek mooy yëpp xam nga te tey la daasa comme tey ni mu tàngee nii gëm naa ne comme tey la bés bi waroon a nekk xam so am so happy man comme pour teew fii QTV si kaw si kanam kum naxari fasal kanam maa leen di wuyal boole ci xalam dam leen jiital ni gumbok etam la balub fas taxut ne fasa raw fasa nga ca kanam ku leen séntu ca gannaaw daf ci xalaat des QTV ci kanam di nuyu Bruce bu ma jógee ñoom pii ma ni ñu ngi maa gis maa ngi nuyu ci si maa meen Musa Rosa xam nga was dope gang bi yëpp ñu nekk si gannaaw double two because double dafa am ñu nekk si gannaaw. Ga music bi am nañ gan loolu lay tàggoo soobee yàlla.
Ga music bi am nañ gan am nañ problème.
Masha Allah. Waaw.
Tuna maa ngi sama goro.
Oh, wa de.
Anyways, yéen a ko gisandoor ñëw nañ si end of the program. As always, click segment xam nga rek du musa yomba comme du musa seera. So ngeen join ñu waat next time on the same time. We out. Peace.
Thank you very much, viewers. I mean, W2, our guest in the studio. Interesting. And, well, this is all we have for you in this edition. See you next week. Inshallah. Bye.